cats are like your bad stepdad. They go out all night. They only come back to eat. And every now and then you wake up and they're in your bed.
Already I'm in my head because in the last one that we did, I guess I said pod a lot. And so there was a few comments like, why does he keep saying pod? And I'm like, I don't know what, I thought that was a thing. I thought that was a colloquial accepted.
I thought so too. I say pod, I say ep. That was a good ep.
I guess people just hate to hate, maybe.
Yeah,
All right.
hate to hate. But see, this is why reading comments is interesting because everybody's like, "Don't read the comments; it's all evil. It makes you sad." But you got a note out of it.
There's definitely like valuable feedback. It's just kind of like learning to sift through it, I guess.
I used to do these late night sets, which are now old school.
Yeah.
And one guy wrote, the comment was just, "I don't know." I was like, "What does that mean? Does he not know if I'm funny? I don't know about this show." And then I realized I say "I don't know" after every sentence.
Oh.
I was like, "I don't know. I was at the store the other day, and like I'm trying to make it seem very natural. I don't know. What are you gonna do?" And I said "I don't know" like 800 times, and it was a good note.
Yeah.
I stopped saying it.
My parents actually got me a T-shirt made because in one of the sets, like the only one I have on YouTube, I said "It's crazy, dude" a lot.
You do say that.
Yeah, and they made me a shirt. But now every time I say it, I'm like, it gets in my head.
Yes.
Yeah. But I was telling you, so.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I guess I say that. But
that was the sex. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I'll probably say it in this.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
But yeah, like I said, this is like, I guess maybe the fourth one. I've done it one other one with like somebody, or maybe twice, but I've done it with you. Basically, I went to Austin, which was cool. But like so many comedians at like all the shows I went to came up to me and knew me just from this.
Oh,
they're like,
great.
I loved it, and they made it sound like some of them. I'm like, are you okay? Like they were like, that changed my life. Those videos, like, so yeah, people watch them.
I think the first one killed it. And then the second one was And then I think we did 3.
Yeah, we did do 3.
Okay.
The third one did well as well,
All
I
right,
think.
good.
Yeah.
One guy wrote on the first one, he wrote, "This is great stuff, but this joke will definitely not work." And he was right.
Really?
It doesn't work, and it's out of my act.
Have you gotten from these videos responses in the comments that have helped your jokes at all? Because people they offer stuff up.
Do they?
They do,
I
yeah.
didn't see that. I would love it. I'm very big on feedback. Any kind of note or take, I'll listen.
Okay, yeah, that's what I think is extra interesting about you. I've noticed that you will take basically a joke tag from anybody, and it's kind of cool because it's just like, I think it's a talent in itself to be able to recognize something that is valuable or worth using.
Also, you stare at these jokes I've got jokes. I have a joke that's about 8 months old, and I just cracked it. And the only reason I cracked it is because I was driving to the gig and I had my opener driving. And I was like, "What do you think of this?" And then as I was telling him, I came up with something. I tried it that night and it worked. And that's after 8 months. So, yeah, you never know what'll knock something loose.
Yeah.
So I say run it by everybody. And you stare at a joke for so long, you lose the meaning of it.
Right.
You forget why it's funny. It's like when you say a word over and over.
Well, that's what's been happening to me lately. I think another reason I like doing these like a year apart is because I do a little more comedy, progress a little more, so I have more things to ask you about. But I feel like I've had like more show opportunities. I don't end up doing mics, and so I find myself at these shows. I'm like, well, I'm gonna try new stuff tonight, and then I get to the show and I'm like, fuck, it's a big audience, and so I just fall back on the old stuff.
Yeah, it's hard.
And then I'll do it feels like I'm just going through the script of the joke in my mind a lot of the time. Like I'm just saying what I've said. I'm not really thinking about it.
Which is also bad.
Yeah, I think I need to like either, man up and just do new stuff or just like do open mics again. I feel like that's kind of where do you decide to do the new stuff?
Well, I'm in a decent spot and I'm very grateful to be here. But like I can try out new in the middle. Like I'm doing an hour at the Cellar tonight and I can do a lot of new.
Yeah.
Within an hour, it gives you a lot more breathing room, and it gives you a chance to be like, all right, that sucked. I suck. I'm sorry I did that to you. And then that's kind of endearing, and you get them back. But if you're doing 12 minutes and you got to kill it, you can't really fuck around like that.
That makes sense. But you don't get fearful of like, I'm at the Cellar, I need to be at the top of my game or anything? Or you kind of surpass that?
I've been there so long, and it's my hour with my people.
Right.
But if it's a 15-minute set, I'll do a little bit. Here, let me throw this out there. But what I do, my trick is when I write at home, I picture myself bombing, and it makes you write harder. Like, it makes you double down. Like, all right, I got to really think about this because this is going to fail. and that's going to be humiliating, and that's going to hurt my feelings. So I don't want to do that. So let me really write the shit out of it. Because a lot of comics will go, they don't want to write. So they'll go, this will work. They kind of convince themselves it'll work, but it probably won't.
Yeah.
But if you actually get real, Mike Birbiglia had a great line. He goes, when you're looking at your writing, think, where would you laugh? Because you go, I'm funny. They're a bunch of sheep. They're paying to come out. They'll laugh. But where would you actually laugh if you heard some other comics say this?
Right.
And that is a real eye-opener. Then you kind of got to really face it and go, shit, I wouldn't laugh at this.
Yeah.
Why would they?
Yeah, good point. I've never heard of that. Like, I've heard of visualizing your success, but it makes sense to visualize the bomb because then you kind of...
Big bomb.
You're ready for it.
Same with sex. Go in there thinking, this gal, I'm not going to please her at all. She's going to be yawning and fall asleep, and you got to really... That'll make you bring the heat.
Okay. Yeah, I think you told me this last time I saw you, but... was it Tom Segura was like opening for Dave Attell, and after a weekend of doing comedy, it was something like, what did he say? He was like, so you want to be an actor?
Yeah.
And he was like, why? He was like, well, because you've been doing
the same act
for the whole weekend. Yeah.
He's like, you're in the feature spot. This is the primo middle. I'm the one who sells the tickets. They're here to see me. You can fuck around. As you should. This is like sold out shows. You should be trying stuff.
Yeah. Well, I will say... The most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life is, so I got to open for Tim a little bit. And there was like, I did like 20 minutes in front of like 500 people. 20 minutes once, and then the rest of the nights were 15. Mm-hmm. But, oh my God, going out in front of 500 people is like the most like, it ruins my whole day. Like leading up to it, like Tim's cool and he's fun to hang with, but I'm not I know a big part of it is like being a good hang, I guess, but like not me during the day. I'm just like, fuck, I have to do that later. I get so scared, dude.
But what about? I thought you guys did theaters. That's like 2,000, 100.
He hasn't used me for a theater.
Okay,
just
okay.
there was like one. Yeah, actually one of the times I was with you, which was in New York when we were at the dojo that weekend.
Right. 500. Yeah, that's a day ruiner. 500 is a lot.
But 2,000? At what point does it kind of just like, it doesn't really make it, it's just a mass of people either way?
Yeah, at this point. I mean, an arena, you feel that. You're like, whoa,
really?
This is 10 grand. This is 20 grand. Holy shit.
But are they all laughing, or can you hear pockets of non-laughter? And
you hope they're all laughing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear a guy go like, where's the bathroom? And
yeah.
Sometimes you hear a guy like, Richie, we're over here, and all that shit, or the peanut guy, doing that thing. So, yeah, that's tough.
So is it harder to feel more like, I feel like if there was ever a time I'd be in the script mode, it would be at an arena, because it's like, well, I can't connect on an individual.
That's true. Not only you're in the script mode, but you're in performance mode, because you're gonna get the guy in the back by the fucking concessions to laugh. So you gotta be like, and I got an Uber. You gotta really project.
Yeah. Wow. So you can't do people? I mean, I guess like Matt Rife does crowd work in an arena, right?
I guess, but he has it set up where the guy with the camera films the hot chick with huge tits, and then that goes up on the jumbotron. So he's like, "Nice tits, whore," and the crowd's like, "Oh, that's her with the tits."
We'll get to the joke thing soon, I promise. But one thing that reminded me of, I think I've ran this by you before, but I do think it's interesting how comedians. Like there's the rule that we've established or whatever where it's like, don't have your phone in here, don't film us, all this stuff. We're going to say stuff we can't say outside.
Yeah.
But then like these crowd work comedians film the audience. They're like, you're a fucking idiot. You're cheating on who? Blasted on TikTok. It's like, why isn't it double-sided?
That's true. I mean, some people have complained.
Oh,
like,
really?
Hey, don't put a video of me. One time I did a show at New York Comedy Club, and I went into it with this lady. It was all fun and whatever. And then I ran out of there to go to another set, and she went up to the manager and was like, was that filmed? And they were like, yeah, we film every show. And she was like, I'm like a fugitive or something. I'm wanted by the law or something. She's hiding from her dad or something. And she's like, you got to delete that. And he was like, I don't know what to tell you. It's already filmed. He's already got the tape. And she was like, oh my God, she starts crying. She called her boyfriend. He comes down. He's like, I'll sue all of you motherfuckers.
Really?
Yeah, it was fine.
I mean, I guess like you're a decent person, so you would just not clip that moment, or you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there should be some mutual respect, because it's like, we're going to say stuff we can't say outside. And then
that's a good point.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, you said what? All right, TikTok.
Yeah. Well, comics are pretty famously selfish.
Yeah.
So they're like, you can't do this to me, but I can do it to you because I'm a comedian or whatever. And that's kind of shitty.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, yeah, I just wanted to I tried making like some video, like a sketch. It felt like too inside baseball, and also like
the crowd work's pretty popular.
But maybe it just was a bad sketch. That's also a possibility for sure.
Want to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before I ask if you brought any jokes, let me check my little iPad here just to make sure.
I love the iPad.
Really? All right, cool.
Yeah,
Because the one time I definitely felt, well, it was more of a pod when we did it. The one time we just did like a regular podcast, and you made fun of me for the notes. But this is more.
I love that. I make fun of you because you're a nerd, but I think it's it's better for the pod in the long run.
Yeah, I think we're definitely Tom Segura. See, I hit all the points, dude.
Well, you're already out of notes.
Yeah,
you blew through it.
Like,
8
8 minutes. This is, by the way, that's a lot. I find myself doing that on stage too, where I'll hit like 9 minutes, and I'll be like, I feel like that was 10. I didn't see the light yet, and I will cut it early. I need to like be a. I feel like I'm too much of a pussy on stage sometimes.
I heard a guy, we all started, me and a bunch of friends started at the same time. We all sucked. We all bombed constantly. And then one of our friends just got good. Like, he went from here to here in one day. We're like, he's blowing us all off the stage. He's murdering. He's getting applause breaks. We're like, how did you do that? And he goes, I went from being scared to go on stage to I couldn't wait to get up there. And once I couldn't wait to get up there, my whole act changed, my performance changed. So you with the whole 500 seats, oh, God, it ruins my day. If you could just shift that to like, oh, baby, 500, this is going to be great, I think it would show in your act.
I've actually heard that, I don't know if this is true, but apparently the feeling of like anxiousness and nervousness is the same feeling as excitement, and you could technically reframe to feel it.
Whoa.
I've yet to get there, but
yeah. Well, we have a negativity bias, and I think guys like me and you are maybe a little squirrelier and anxiety-ridden, so we kind of go like, oh, I'm feeling something. It's probably bad.
Right.
Whereas other people are like, ooh, what is this cool feeling? I'm pumped.
Yeah,
I'm
good
jazzed
point.
up.
Yeah, I am anxious all the time, so maybe
Yeah.
it is just my mind being like, it must be this.
You ever had boner stuff? Like, oh, God, what if I can't get it up later? This girl's so hot. Oh, man.
Well, never before until once.
Once it's in your head.
Well, my parents watch this, so I hate to get into. Well, it's funny because
your dad can't get it up.
You can skip this part, but
all right.
Yeah. So what? Did you bring jokes for me today?
Yeah, I got them all up here.
Oh, no notes. Okay.
Now, one I've been trying to crack. Maybe you can help me. This thing is driving me crazy. This one is, I got a new one and an old one that I can't fix. But the new one is a tough joke because it's like some people go, hey, I'm trying to do a joke about shitting my pants. I like to go, let me do a joke about chairs and just see what I can get out of a chair. Like I didn't have a funny thought about chairs, but I'm like, let me just see if I can.
So you give yourself like a prompt.
Yes.
And you're like, it's kind of like when in high school it was like, write a story about this photo.
Yeah. But it's more of a challenge, and I still had a tingle. You didn't get that tingle when you think of a joke idea, like, oh, that could be something.
Right.
I got a tingle from the chair.
Okay.
But I still don't know where the angle is.
Okay.
So I think there's something funny with cash going away. Like cash is going away. It's all digital. And I'm like, all right, there's something here. Something here with cash going away. And then I thought, okay, what else is cash? Strip clubs, homeless, poker game, making it rain. There's a lot of funny things with cash. And then I thought, I got my first credit card. Credit cards are interesting because they check in on you. They're like, hey, we saw some unusual activity. And then I'm like, cash never did that.
Right.
Cash doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, now it's building. Now we're building. This is all just shit in the shower I'm just thinking about.
Yeah.
So I thought, all right, what's like a credit card's like your mom. Did you spend $500 on liquor and laser tag? And you got to be like, no, And then cash is like, what? They don't check it. They're like, hey, snort this with me and then put me in her panties.
Yeah.
So cash, now we got a mom versus a degenerate friend. So now we got some funny there.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, well, what are we going to do when cash goes away at strip clubs? We're going to hit a QR code on her snatch? How does that work? Or
crypto.
Crypto, Venmo. There's all these funny things, the NFT. And then I thought, what's up when people wire you money? They go, like, I'll do a gig, and they're like, we wired your money. And I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, it's in your account. And I'm like, how can I trust this? You know? And then you don't.
Like, it feels like their hands were in your.
Yeah. And then what if restaurants did that? I'll have the lasagna. It's in your stomach. And then what about women? She's hot. Well, she's pregnant. So now we're going, and some of this works, but it's still all over the place. And then the big ending is credit cards are dangerous because it doesn't feel like you're spending. Like if you go to a grocery store, hand them a credit card, and they're like, you want to put $5 on for the homeless? I'm like, sure. But if I go outside and there's a homeless guy who's like, can I get a nickel? I'm like, get a job, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
So that's
Does
where
that
I'm
work?
at. That does okay, but I think it's just because I'm calling a guy a piece of shit. But
Yeah.
the in the stomach, that part hits. The QR code on the snatch hits, but it's probably just because it's a snatch. So this is the idea. But I think there's something with all this. And it's fun, observational. It feels like it's of the times.
Right.
So there you go.
One thing I was thinking about was just like the Cash doing because you were saying the Cash is in for like it's excited to be a part of it, but instead if it was like if you were putting it in the strippers' pants and it's like you don't really want to do this, or like if the Cash was speaking to you the same way.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
If Cash was what's the opposite?
If Cash
of
could
corrupt?
check in or something.
Yeah, because Cash is kind of naughty. It's off the grid. It's under the table. Heist movies. It's all cash flowing everywhere. You shoot the guy, you steal the cash.
Swimming in cash. Yeah.
But credit is very organized.
And credit's also money you don't have yet. Or at least in my case, I won't get too into the weeds, but I let's just say I know my way around a credit card. So
there you go.
Yeah. So the homeless guy, you give them a credit card and they'll give you $5.
Yeah. I'm throwing a lot at you here.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot to like comb through.
But that's why these jokes take so long, because not only do you have to get all the beats down, you got to organize it, put it in the right order, keep what works, throw out what doesn't.
So this starts with you at home, like I'm just gonna think about cash. Like you were like, today I'm gonna write about cash.
I just had a tingle with cash. I was just like, oh, there's something with cash. Like it's going away. Everywhere I go, they're like, oh, we're cashless. And I was like, all right, that's interesting. This currency that was the number, cash is king. Now it ain't king. It's gone. It's like beep beep is king, tapping is king, phone is king. Like my wife will go, oh, I forgot my wallet. I got my phone. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Before you lose your wallet, that was something. That was your day was ruined.
Yeah, the Apple Pay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can't get declined with cash either. I've got credit cards.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
These are all good qualities that we can put into the bit.
You can get declined with a credit card, not with cash.
Yeah. Pros and cons. You can cut up a cocaine with a credit card, then you can snort it with the cash.
Oh, okay. That's where they are two are married a little bit. Yeah.
The idea of a credit card checking up on you is funny to me. Also, maybe there's something about stuffing cash in a mattress.
Stuffing a credit card?
Yeah, you would never stuff a credit card in a mattress. Huh.
I do like the check-in too, like like some money people calling you to be like, especially when you relate it back to your mom, like that'd be like, did you the laser tag?
Right.
Yeah, you're like, no, I didn't do that.
Yeah, that part hits.
And they're like, come on, did you?
Yeah.
Mark, and you're like, all right.
Yeah. Also, every great heist movie is like bags of cash, the attaché case that's handcuffed to the guy's wrist. All that's cash. So what's a heist movie in the future is going to be like a 15-year-old with a Slurpee like,
yeah.
We got it.
Done. Yeah.
Done.
Got it. Yeah.
The movie's 8 seconds.
I've also heard about credit cards is it's a lot easier to get your so if you say that the charge was not correct, they will be like, oh, reversed because it's their money.
Uh-huh.
You're spending their money.
Yeah, that's why it's like a mom.
Yeah.
It's their money. It's not even your money.
Right.
They're letting you use their money.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I went to the dentist. I was telling Grant about this before. But basically, the dentist was a scumbag and like overcharged me. And I called the credit card and I explained it to the company and I explained it to the lady. And she's like, that's awful. We'll reverse that right away. Like I was like, yeah, I'm like, really? And I just have to submit a signed thing. But yeah, cash, I would have to go there with a bat to get it back.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Cindy got me it back. No bat.
Yeah, you see? There's something here.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out the right way to package it, and maybe it needs a big overarching premise. Like, this is why I like cash, and then get into it.
It also reminds me a little bit of, and not at all, I think it's a similar sentiment is like Shane's bit about Navy SEALs, Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
Remember how he says the thing about it's like when we kill people, it's not human. Like it's like, oh, clear.
Yeah.
Like it's one button press, whereas Al Qaeda's like shoot. Like it's kind of like the cash versus credit sort of.
Interesting.
Like the robots are like doing it for you.
And his is like, oh, I'm more like Al Qaeda than I am the Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
The Navy SEALs organized and they have crazy guns. Al Qaeda's in pajamas and they're like, ooh, they miss it with a rocket launcher. So that's a great boom. That's very clear. That's very like cut and dry. I'm more like this because these guys are schlubs. These guys are on their shit. So I need something like that. So I'm giving you a real raw idea, which might be a mistake because it seems less funny. But once I figure out that angle, that direction,
right,
I'll have all that other shit ready to go.
Yeah,
like the mattress, the mom,
it all like falls into place,
strip
sort of.
club, yeah, exactly. So we got to come up with the actual.
Like cash is this, or
we need the angle, the direction.
One thing I've like wrote, and I may have even said this in the past ones, I'm not sure, but like I like realized it, I guess, the other day, is like a lot of comedy, I feel like, is like having some opinion that is like kind of absurd, and then the humor kind of comes from the justification of it.
100%.
So like in the Shane one, it's like Al Qaeda's way more, I relate to them more, and all the justifications are what makes it funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if that maybe
that's huge. But see, this is why I'll tell people this cash show, and they go, "But that's not funny." And I'm like, "I know, but if I could find the direction, it will be." So I like to go backwards sometimes, which throws people off.
So it's almost like you don't have the premise yet.
I don't have the premise. I just have I'm having all the justifications without the premise. So if we could come up with a justification, it'll lock the whole thing in, and we'll be good to go.
Right.
But that's the hard part. But I'm also a weird. I'm a weird writer.
Yeah.
I'm going at it the other way.
I feel like it's almost like at this point it's kind of like an ad. It's like cash is blank.
Yeah, exactly. So we got this bank, no pun intended, this bank of cash qualities, all these ideas about cash and credit. But if we can just fill in that front part, we'll be golden.
I'm trying to, like, if it was a...
Remember the Anne Frank joke I told you?
Yeah.
That joke was also like kind of from the back end, and I came up with the way to get into it just recently, and now the joke kills.
Do you want to tell us, or you want to?
Well, sure. The joke was Anne Frank was scooped up at 14. If she was 17, the book wouldn't have as much weight to it because it would be a bunch of like hand jobs, and so it would take away from the powerfulness of the book. But now I go into it going, people come to me with their problems, and I'm the worst guy because I try to make everything a joke. So my friend goes, my daughter's 17. I came across her diary. She's sexually active. And I go, was I in there? And that kills, and now we're in. Funny. So he's telling me this deep
Well, you had that secret last year when we did this, but you didn't have the was I in there.
Well, I didn't have the was I in
there.
So
basically you needed a laugh to go from that to the next
I also
thing.
didn't have the I can't not tell a joke. Like if you come to me with something serious, I have to make it funny because I freak out.
So is that the next part to transition it, you mean? Like you go, I can't, like...
Yeah, that's the opening. Like, oh man, my friends come to me, they got kids, they have real problems, they come to me with their problems, and I'm too awkward that I can't not make a joke out of it. And then I go into the Anne Frank thing.
I see.
And now it makes so much more sense.
That's cool. For a second, I was worried you were telling me this, and like... I was like, oh, he doesn't remember that he told me this last year. But no, that is a totally new intro to it.
Totally new intro. So most people have the intro and then write the joke. I go the other way, which is not good.
So you kind of have like the pipes. You're like bank, mattress,
yeah.
QR code.
Yes, but no intro. So anybody out there, if you can think of an intro, I think you're cooking up something over there, aren't you? But if we come up with an intro, we'll be like 80% done.
Do you have something, Grant? You've been silently thinking.
It sounds like you're doing like a pros and cons list of cash. Like you sound like you're missing cash, and so you're justifying why you're nostalgic about it because it's leaving.
Yeah.
Like, cash is king, not me. There's something about if the intro is cash is king. Well, now it's this. Now it's peasantry.
Right.
And that part isn't necessarily funny, but that kind of encapsulates this thing is going, and this is why I'm sad about it, or this is what I'm going to miss.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Is that any of that picked up on a mic?
He's got it on his phone.
Oh, okay, great. See, that's pretty good. That already helps it a lot.
Cash is king too, like the idea of like a king being overthrown,
yes,
or like the new queen is like like Cindy, or like
digital,
some like Chase,
right? Huh.
Amex, like
Yeah. Maybe it's like America. America was this big empire and it's falling. Now really reaching.
Yeah.
But
Watch
who's
it, bro.
Who's a king that? No, I like America.
No, I'm just kidding.
But who's a king that went away? Like besides Michael Jackson, king of pop, Elvis.
Oh wait, isn't the current king like people don't like him because he was like? Oh, the prince.
Prince. Oh yeah, the Epstein's Island.
Yeah, cash was found on the flight logs.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll noodle.
Okay. Yeah, we'll noodle on that more. I like the backing in thing.
Yeah, it's.
I wish I snapped. I wish I was just, in my daydreams, I'm like, what about this? And
yeah,
you're like,
of course,
that's it.
Of course. But it might hit you in like a week.
Yeah.
You'll
yeah.
be shitting and you're like,
right.
cash.
Well,
I got it.
Well, that's what's cool. People just kind of like to see the thought process you have, and it's cool to see kind of like, even if we don't find the answer, just to see how you think about it's cool.
Yeah, this is pretty advanced. Not saying the joke writing is advanced, but like this kind of joke theory, we're going in deep.
Mm-hmm.
I could come in here and be like, the chicken crossed the road to get to the other side. What do you think?
Yeah.
But that's already
it's already done. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm coming at you with a weird way to write jokes.
That's what's fun when I do get to like open for you is like the whole ride, or like at least once we get to the green room, definitely you go, all right. What about this? You start like you just love comedy so much that it's just like who's ever it doesn't even feel like I feel like a more uncultured to Mark person would be like, wow, he must really trust my comedic sensibilities. But in reality, I feel like it's just like you're just grasping at Eddie. You're like, is this? What do you think? And
I do it with the mailman.
Yeah.
I do it with my cat. I'm all over the place with it. Yeah.
Which is cool though. It's like
you never know what nugget you'll get from a rando.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. That's what's. It's more about building the set to you than it is about where it comes from, and as long who it comes from.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not taking everything from other people, but I'm like, you can get jogged or something can get kicked loose by a random person.
Yeah, just make you think something
exactly.
like take the blinders off.
Yeah, because you got kind of a one-track mind when you think it's hard to go outside the box of your own brain.
Right.
So some other guy can really go in a weird angle. You're like, ooh, I never thought of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Goes a long way.
Let's see. Which one should I show you? Oh, I'll tell you the one that Grant liked the most.
Please.
But I think it's up your alley as far as jokes go.
All right.
So SpaceX is like moving from California to Texas. And so the funny thing to me is like, moving an apartment sucks. How hard is it to move a rocket ship company? Just having
that's funny.
Yeah, just like a spaceship in a U-Haul.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, people like, what was it? Grant said something earlier where it was like,
it's like, no, don't worry, we're only gonna be here for 5 years. Just keep moving around.
Yeah, like when you park a truck outside.
Oh, yeah, right.
And that's literally all I have. I got like chuckles with it, and I was like, okay, but it's also
funny.
It feels a little like it might be timely.
Sure, but
I
if
don't
you
know.
can get that out on the internet, while the whole news story is happening, that would blow up. What about something with calling your dumb jerk off friends like, can you help me move this rock and I'll give you pizza and beer?
Yeah.
And they're like, all right.
It's a 5-floor walk up.
Yeah, yeah, it's a walk up.
Okay.
Then you have to take it apart because it won't fit in the door jam.
Yeah, you're looking at the manual.
Yeah.
Or like after the fact, it's like it's on backwards or something.
See that this is a lot clearer.
Yeah.
Than my bullshit cash thing.
I see what you're saying.
But I go about it a different way. But that's really funny.
Okay.
And it's a great sketch too. Just calling a bunch of guys in basketball shorts to move a rocket.
Well, so let me ask you this. The wording, I don't understand, right? Like, or it feels redundant. So I'm like, it sucks to move an apartment. I can't imagine moving a rocket ship company. And then I'm like, a rocket ship in a U-Haul, or is it spaceship in a U-Haul? You see where I'm like, now I'm using the same words.
Right.
And it feels like that might be too...
What if you call the U-Haul and they're like... You're like, hey, what's the biggest truck? They're like, what do you got, a big king-size bed or an L-shaped couch? Like, no, I got a rocket that goes to Mars.
Yeah, that's funny. 2 turbine thrusters.
Yeah, then you can get the terminology. Really Google that, and that's even funnier. Could also be something funny, too. You hire a bunch of guys, and it's just like illegal aliens, and they, like, bent one of the fins of the rocket trying to get it in. You're like, you nicked it.
Yeah. And he's like, sorry, it's my nephew, or like something like the moving company or whatever.
And then you have to tip them.
Yeah.
That was a lot here. It could be a good sketch too.
Well, that's where my I find myself struggling sometimes. It's like, why not just do the sketch?
Yeah. The sketch, you don't have to rely on laughter. You don't have to get all the words right. Because stand-up, it has to be so perfected.
Yeah, and it's like maybe I do this in the next week or two. Like ideally, because it feels timely, I should get it out sooner, right? But
how do you film that though? Moving a rocket. You have to call the props department on that one.
Yeah, get creative, I guess.
Yeah.
Like just put like something big under a blanket and be like
yeah, turbines.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But that's funny.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you like that one because if
U-Haul.
I share any more of down the line, they're not as good from there. So.
Oh no! I think that's great. Hold on, I had another idea that I lost. Calling them up. Hold on. You're moving. Oh, what about the fact that like you move out of an apartment because your girlfriend dumped you, you got divorced, or your friends moved away? This is like, oh, what's your cause for moving? Trans kids.
Yeah.
Isn't that why he's going to Texas?
yeah.
Because they changed the law.
Yeah, Elon. He's like super like conservative, I guess, and keeps like. That's funny, yeah.
Yeah,
like a whole rocket ship company.
Because of kids. Because of beta blockers or whatever the fuck they're called.
I like that too. Like, what is his reason for moving? Like, if it even wasn't that, like the factory's haunted or whatever.
Right, it's too small or the AC doesn't work. No, kids getting their dicks cut off or whatever. That's the reason we're moving a rocket to Texas.
Yeah. Oh, is air, like, does it soar better there? Nope.
No, just want to keep these kid dicks.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of angles here. Boy, when you get the angle first, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I'm throwing cash bullshit out
I'll
here.
teach you a thing or two, Mark.
Please.
No,
I mean, I do it that way too, but
I'm kidding.
there's something fun with like, let's see if I can crack the eye. How is cash funny?
Right. No, well, that's a cool way. I think that would probably yield even more if I were to do that because right now I'm just kind of like rolling through life, and as things like, if I make somebody laugh, like that was me, my new coworker. He read that in the car, and I was like, oh, imagine. I literally was like, oh, it sucks moving an apartment. Imagine moving. He was like, oh, that's so good. I was like, all right, I'll write it down. I think it would be better and like more admirable. Not admirable, like if I were to just sit down and be like, what is funny about something?
Right.
That's like you said, people don't want to write. I'm definitely often of that camp. There's times where I sit down, but yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because A, it's just you'd rather look at your phone, you'd rather watch TV, but B, you have to sit with your failure. You're just staring at a blank piece of paper, and it's just reminding you you're not that smart, you're not that brilliant.
I think you have to allow, and I mean, you do it more, but you kind of have to allow yourself to become bored because then you are forced to entertain yourself.
That's what Seinfeld said.
Really?
He's like, I'll sit there for half an hour kind of like twiddling my thumbs, and there's no window to look out, there's no phone to look at. And he's like, after a while, you're so miserable that you're like, hey, this is something, and now you want to do it.
Yeah, okay. So it's kind of like an ice bath or something. You just got to force yourself into it.
It's like solitary confinement where you're like, all right, I'll think about something.
Yeah. I remember Vsauce, he's a YouTube like science guy.
Maybe if I saw him.
Okay. He one of the videos he did, it was like people put in a room with nothing but a button that shocks you.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
At first people will be like, oh, like they touch it, like, ow, that hurts. I'm never going to touch that again. But like once they shut the door and they're in solitary confinement, within like 30 seconds to a minute, people start pressing. They start pressing the button.
Boredom.
Yeah, they'd rather feel pain than boredom.
Yes, and boredom makes you think about like dark shit.
Yeah.
So I think that's like, well, at least I didn't think about my childhood or my dad or my molestation or whatever.
Well, I'm addicted to my phone and like Instagram. I mean, it's just it's like one, shallow thought to the next.
I know.
It doesn't allow you to get.
They're rarely good thoughts.
No.
I had a flight delay yesterday, 8-hour flight delay. So I'm just walking around the airport and I'm just watching videos, listening to podcasts, looking at hot chicks twerking, cat video, everything, YouTube, Twitter. I'm going down Twitter. It's like Gaza bombing and naked lady and all these animal attack and fist fight between a white guy and a black guy. And you have so many stimulus rods firing, and you're like, after about 5 hours, I was like, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
I put my phone down. I lasted about 8 seconds, and I picked it back up.
Right.
It's horrible.
It's like an endless magazine. It's just like I hate it, but it's so hard not to like.
It's so hard because you're like, oh, these are my thoughts. These suck. Let me go back to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Let me throw one at you. But I think the rocket ship's big.
Cool.
U-Haul rocket. Hold on. I lost it. Oh, now this joke's a little simpler. So I was, I need an ending. So I went to a party with my friend, warehouse, real rager, like walk in, DJ, people making out. Some people are like kind of fucking in the corner, drugs everywhere, dancing. Some people are naked. And I was like, holy shit. My friend walks in, he goes, wow, it's like a zoo in here. And I thought, why do people say that? You ever been to a zoo? It's pretty orderly. You know, it's a zoo is actually kind of boring, and families are there, and it's wholesome. But we always say that when a place is crazy or chaotic, like a riot, or it's like a zoo in here. But a zoo, it's boring. So then I thought, well, when should we say that? And I thought, well, I went to an old folks home to visit my grandpa, and I was like, I'm here with my family. It's boring.
Yeah.
We're feeding them.
You have to look at him through glass.
Yeah.
Because he's got like a disease or something.
Yeah, one leaves, you shoot it.
Yeah.
So that part is kind of the punchline.
Okay.
But the pointing out that why do we say that hits. That's a big hit. And then the old folks home is doing okay, but if you have any other ideas, I thought old folks home, rehab. I don't want to go jail because it gets racial.
Yeah.
And it's almost too on the nose with like the cages. It's more sad than funny.
Yeah, and you can't really
Jail.
walk through it and like.
Yeah,
they don't do tours.
That's true.
Although it would be cool if they did tours at jail.
Well, have you seen Scared Straight?
Yeah.
Woo!
But I mean more so just like walk through with families and
That's
strollers
true.
and be like, oh, look at him.
Well, also
He's on death row, kids.
but a koala's not like, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker. You're like, oh shit, sorry.
True.
So yeah, if you got any ideas, that one's kind of working, but it could go from a B to an A.
Or you could turn a party. What would a party that is more like a zoo look like?
Oh, that I like.
So like a guy like making a girl do some like tricks, or I don't know, like or watching people have sex. Like how sometimes like the animals will have sex,
That's
or like
true.
or this is like there's like descriptions like frat bro playing beer pong.
Right.
From the Archimedes diatribe. I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like, scientific words.
Right. Yeah, what would be a place you're saying that you'd want it to be like a zoo?
No, I'm saying like the reverse of your like the thinking you were saying was like if a party's like that guy was like it's like a zoo in here. If it was like actually like a zoo, what would that party look like?
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be a weird ass party.
Right, and that's why it's like we're watching them have sex, and then
Right.
they're behind glass, and
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, places that are orderly like a zoo.
Yeah, I also thought about strip club. And
Strip.
then I tried
yeah.
the joke of like you're watching a cougar who's in a place she's not allowed to leave. Because she's stuck at the strip club.
Oh, cougar. Yeah,
cougar,
yeah,
and then
I
you get
see.
the cougar thing. But it was almost too cute and clever.
That makes sense.
That people
That
were
makes
like,
sense.
Shut up, dick.
Museum, no, it's things.
I think old folks home.
That
I've run through like 20 of them, and that seems to be the one that's sticking. But don't let me sway you. He's thinking. He did his lean where he leans over.
I feel like the old folks home is the one that.
Do you have your phone?
Yeah, I'm recording.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like I think it's my first fucking time. I feel like the old folks home is the one that came up with the most ideas for, because it's like you all you do is really watch them eating shit and they're just waiting to die.
Oh, yeah.
that's good.
Um,
And they don't know that they're like how animals don't know they're in a zoo.
Yeah,
Like old people,
right.
they don't know that they're
That's
just like,
true.
where am I?
Also, they had like a vibrant, fulfilling life before, and then we stuck them in here.
Yeah.
Like a lion was on the Serengeti.
And it's
eating
like
a
you want to
zebra.
free them, and they're like, no, if you let them into the wild, they'll die.
They'll die. yeah, right. They'll never make it out there.
Yeah.
plus, both places smell oddly like hay.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. I think we got something here. I also I'm doing a Fallon soon, a set, and the level of clean you have to be for Tonight Show is crazy. So some of that stuff, like they'll die or whatever, shoot it. Some of that stuff even is too harsh for Fallon.
You have to submit it beforehand.
Yeah. So I'm trying to knock a lot of these out to submit.
And that's cool. So like, is that mic or is that just hands? Like in a mic? Like
I like to go hands.
Oh, really? No
yeah.
mic.
I used to do mic, but it's just a prop because they have a lav on you. So you feel stupid. So you're like, you can have it over here and they still hear you.
Oh, interesting.
So I just go hands. And you look kind of professional.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this shit. Who am I, Matt
No.
Rife?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that kind of looks weird.
Yeah,
like you're a pilot or something.
Right. I live by Tony Robbins or Madonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird though because you feel kind of lost.
And you do
without
5
mic.
minutes?
Do 5.
And
Clean.
it's just like straight up 5, like a regular set. There's no like
no
hold for
opener.
lights or like any of that shit.
Nothing. You just walk out and they go, Mark Norman. The curtains opens and you boom.
And then afterwards, you just walk right back onto your green room.
No, Fallon comes out and goes, "Hey, good job." And then he hugs you and he walks you over to the desk and you pretend to have a conversation and it's all bullshit. And then
Did you know him at this point? Like, is he gonna know you as like? Also,
little.
sorry if I'm asking too much.
No,
or,
no,
yeah.
I've done it 4 times already, and he's very cool, very nice. But he's going through the motions. It's a job.
And how far away is the audience from you?
I'd say 15 feet in kind of bleachers.
Like, all things considered, is it a good room?
Yes.
Yeah?
They're hot. They're ready to go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they know they're on TV too, so there is a sense of tension in the room.
Right.
You know, kind of like, ugh.
And they kind of have to laugh for you.
Yeah, but you can still bomb.
You can?
You can bomb. If you go dark or mean, they'll turn on you.
Really?
Yeah, that crowd is so soft and squeaky clean and like wholesome that if you go a little bit,
Is it like tourist kind of vibe?
yeah, tour young.
Isn't the cellar also, they say, is like touristy?
a little touristy, but at least that's in a basement. It's dark. It's a comedy club.
And
this
it's not,
is like,
yeah, it's not immortalized on live television.
yeah, this is like people who love the show Friends.
Right.
You know, they're just kind of squeaky Midwestern nerds.
So how far in advance do they tell you you're going to be doing a set?
They give you, a couple months to work it out.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. And they approve the set and then reapprove it. You have to keep sending them the set, and they go, change that. Then you got to reshoot it, send it back.
Is there any sense of them like is there comfort in them being like, this is funny enough, or it's just straight up, is this allowed to be said on TV?
Sadly, because this is why TV's dying too. It's more about this is better for TV. I had a joke about cats, and I was like, cats are like your shitty stepdad. I didn't say shitty, but they're like your bad stepdad. They go out all night. They only come back to eat. And every now and then you wake up and they're in your bed. And that kills,
Yeah.
but that's a molestation joke. So I had to change it to, and it's really hard to get a hug. Which is still makes sense,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have the bite.
Wait, so this one will be on
yeah.
in this new one?
But that's the real version versus the
That's
TV
so
version.
annoying.
I
And if you
know.
were to sneak it in, they'd just never invite you back, or they'd cut it, or yeah.
This is why you never seen Chris Rock on a late night set. He doesn't need it.
I feel like they've said worse, dude. Like,
I know, but I guess
I know you're not going to
It's-
push back. I mean,
yeah.
take what you can get.
I've
But
pushed back before. They wouldn't let me say boner, and I fought for it, and I got it on. And they wouldn't let me say piss, and I fought for it, and I got it on.
is there a gentle way to be like, hey, I really think this would be funnier?
Yeah, you're just like, because they're like, you got to, because erection is even like, well, you're talking about a hard dick on NBC. And I was like, but boner's so silly. Even in the throes of passion, no one's like, oh, I got a boner, baby.
Right.
You know, boner's not a funny, or it's not a sexy word. It's pure comedy.
What about so why is SNL like they do? I feel like they have like pedophile jokes. And
Well, they're like 11:30, and it feels a little more adult, whereas Fallon's become like a kid show.
okay.
It's weird because Louis pointed this out. Late night used to be late night. Oh, it's late. Letterman's like talking to Madonna about her squirting. And then it flipped at some point. Like Johnny Carson was smoking and he had big-breasted ladies on. He's flirting with them. And then it slowly flipped into like The View now is on at like noon. And they're like, abortion and we gotta stop this shit. They're taking our rights away and all that, and they're like talking about heavy shit, Gaza.
Yeah,
you know, and
stepdad
then,
in your bed.
yeah. And then late night became like, we're gonna play ping pong with Miley Cyrus and karaoke with this guy and all that. So it really flipped.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I love that cat joke. I hope you get to. You'll still like. Can you put it in a special after?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
It's just kind of like a little trailer into you at that late night thing, or it's just a little Like it doesn't. I don't know. I guess like the burning material thing is always interesting to me. Like,
Yeah, I think with TV you're fine.
No.
They're two different worlds, TV and a special. Like I did a bunch of Conans, and all the Conan material is on a special somewhere.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they don't mix.
Okay.
Let me see. I don't want to leave you hanging. If I have you got another bit?
Yeah, I got another one.
Please hit me.
So I think I've told you this in the green room, but I'm going to use it again because you liked it and you actually gave me a line.
Okay.
But you know the app ZocDoc?
Yes.
So it's for doctors to
you've
find.
been trying to noodle on this one for a while.
Yeah, it's just like I have a whole bunch of dating app material, and it just really segues nicely.
Okay.
But basically, yeah. So like, I've been so conditioned by dating apps, I end up looking for the hottest doctor on ZocDoc because it shows their photos.
That's great.
Yeah, and so then that's pretty much that line, and then the line that gets a laugh, that kind of gets a laugh, and then I say, I get a sore throat, I end up in a gynecologist's office. And then you said something like, the throat and the vagina are very similar.
Yeah.
Which was good, but yeah, I basically the bigger laugh is just telling them the hottest doctor thing.
That's a great premise.
But that's all I got. I'm the reverse of you, dude. All I got is the premise.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
Like getting banned on. I actually haven't tried this, but I think I said it to you once in text. Maybe I don't know. It was like getting banned on ZocDoc, so having to look for medical advice on dating apps.
Oh, interesting. That's something.
Yeah.
Maybe just comparing the two, going back and like if you completely swapped and swapped them. Like if you were like, hey, now I'm on ZocDoc, like it's a dating app, and then you're like, the weird thing is, I went on a date the other day, and she inspected my dick for herpes, and I went to the doctor, and she told me I was cute, or something where you flip the whole thing.
Yeah, I think you had said something along the lines, too, of like, ZocDoc's the better dating app because you could take your pants off on date 1 or something. Oh,
yeah, that's
like,
true.
If you go to, like, a urologist or whatever.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, came from you.
maybe there's an angle with at least with the dating apps, I can show people my dick and it's free. With ZocDoc, you got to pay a copay or whatever the hell at the end. Or there's something. I think the premise needs one little tweak where you're like, hey, I can't afford ZocDoc.
I see.
So I go on dates instead. And I get a girl to inspect my dick, and I'll be like, I'm a little fevery, and they're like, let me help you. The girl helps you, and so now you're getting blown and some kind of relief.
Yeah. Or I was thinking because people like that I'm looking for hot doctors, like maybe I'm like trying to date like a doctor because she has money.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Or it's free. Like I'm such a hypochondriac that if I date a neurologist, I can use her MRI whenever I want.
Yes, and get laid.
Yeah.
So
Scan me again. Like I have a headache or something.
You've combined them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot here. I think this is pretty good. I think we just need that exact, precise angle.
Yeah. So it's kind of missing the premise a little bit.
A little bit. I think there's an element we're not seeing that's out there. Either we need to add an element, one more thing. Say it again.
I've been so conditioned by dating apps that now when I use ZocDoc, because it shows the photos of the doctors, I end up looking for the hottest doctor and not the best reviewed.
Okay, well, why don't we just stay with that? Then you go on a date with a girl, and you're like, do you take insurance?
Yeah.
And she's like, what? You're like, oh, sorry.
I'm so used to,
You're so used to it, so we'll just stay on that train.
Right.
Or you go to a doctor, and you
try to kiss her when I leave.
Right, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you just take the date tropes and bring it. You either take the doctor and bring it to the date.
Yes.
Or take the date tropes and bring it to the doctor.
Exactly.
Okay.
I wonder what's funnier, date tropes or doctor tropes? Probably doctor tropes. You got the stick your tongue out.
The knee.
The knee thing. Yeah, you hit the knee. You turn your head and cough. Check the temperature. Maybe you fuck a girl, you give her a lollipop after.
That's fun. I mean, I'm not. That's like, wouldn't she do that to me?
That's true.
But I do like that. It's funny.
That's funny.
Now, and I guess my question, like, could you do both? You could, right? Like
you could, yeah.
You just kind of, it would be like fleshing out the one and then being like, or you could do like,
Yeah.
or now when I'm on dates or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I got really worried. I went on a date with another girl. She had a waiting room. So then one guy left and I walked in. You were like, maybe that's the joke. You confuse the two.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you're on ZocDoc all day, then you go on Tinder all night, and then you go meet a doctor who you think is a date.
Right.
I don't know. Or vice versa. You go on a date, you think is a doctor, and you walk in a room, you take your pants off. She's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Or I'm like spending, like I'm wasting all my insurance for the year because I'm like fall in love with one of the doctors.
Yeah.
So she's like, you're fine. And I'm like, no, just check again. Just check my heart. Like
Yeah.
It's beating fast. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like, just paying out of pocket to see like the most mundane kind of doctor.
Right. Yeah, Seinfeld had a joke where he compared dates and a job interview. And then at the end, the big joke is at the end of a job interview, you're never naked at the end of it or whatever. But this is a similar formula.
Right.
You know, doctor date.
Okay, I'll take a look at that too.
Yeah, I think these are all great premises. But yeah, we just got to figure out
Yeah,
the
I find
punch.
myself getting good premises, but not. I think it's the non-writing thing, or not sitting down to really
Right.
devote to. And then I'll find myself with a bunch of new ideas in my little folder, and I'm like, don't stick to any. I kind of just like brush it. I'm like, I'll try this one today, I think. And
Yeah.
I feel. Are you a little more like methodical about like I need to keep working on this specific new bit? Yeah.
Yeah, because for me, a premise is hard to come up with because they just have to hit me.
Yeah.
And they don't hit you that often. I like to really pump out material. So if I don't get a premise to hit me, I'll go the back road, which is the cash thing.
Yeah.
And then at least I'm working on something.
Right.
You know. So I got a premise now, and then I got a finished idea. Which one do you want?
What are you more excited to share?
Well, the finished idea is easy because I feel like there's people. I blue balled a little with the cash thing.
All right, give
'Cause
us.
I feel like people are like there's no ending.
The zoo was good though. They like
Okay.
the workshopping more than
All
they
right.
might like the finished joke, but still.
Okay, well then I'll do that one then.
All right.
What do you think? You're the host.
Based on the comments I've read, I think people like to see the unfinished.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, this is an idea, and I don't know if this is funny. Like your rocket thing, just when you say the premise, I'm like, that's funny.
Yeah.
This, I don't know if it's that funny, but I think it's interesting.
Okay.
And then sometimes interesting.
I feel like
stuff is the
some of
coolest.
Louis' best are just interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, agreed. His bit about if Jesus came back, he'd be so annoyed.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I gave you everything. There's
Yeah.
food, there's plants, there's water, and we're like, yeah, but it doesn't have bacon around it. You know?
Yeah.
AI's coming. It's already here. Everybody's worried it's going to take our jobs, blah, 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 especially artists like comedians and musicians and filmmakers. But AI, the reason it'll never beat human art is because we have trauma. We've been molested. We've been poor. We've been beaten, whatever. Trauma makes you interesting. A laptop can't get diddled or whatever.
Yeah,
Cut
yeah.
in hard drive Microsoft joke in there. But a laptop can't get diddled. Like Michael Jackson, king of pop. He was beaten as a child, so he became the king of pop. If he wasn't beaten, he'd probably just be working at a daycare.
Right.
You know, pedophilia joke. But yeah, so then the whole meat of it is, you ever go to an AA meeting?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Oh, actually, like a heroin's anonymous. Like
even better.
narcotics anonymous. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's heavy. Well, either way, you go to a NA or AA meeting, and it's like, whoa, these people have been through some shit. Every story is. I didn't touch my phone because I was just like, I can't stop listening to this guy. He blew a guy for crack. He killed his dad because of this, and then drugs and that, and booze. I drove my car into a playground. I killed a child. It ruined my life. Whatever. And I was like, this is unreal. But AI could never come up with that because AI is kind of squeaky clean. AI is kind of wholesome.
Right.
You know, if you're like, tell me about anal rape, they're like, don't do it. It's horrible. But if you're like, if you ask a guy in AA, tell me about anal rape, he's like, I did it once because I needed the fentanyl or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, this is crazy. So you get these great stories, all this conflict. So basically the whole joke is leaning on the fact that AA is better than AI, which is so corny.
Yeah.
But I think there's something there about how dark, fucked up thoughts are what make you interesting.
Well, I think we may have talked about this at one point because I remember saying this one thing, which is that to me it's the reverse where AI proves to me that you don't need to be some conflicted. You don't need to be touched because this thing just makes things right away. It's never been touched. It's never, and it's like, because like Billie Eilish is all like, I want to, what is she? Oh, I want to end me, and she's all depressed, and it's like, oh, she's such an artist. It's like, well, this shit makes it no problem. It's just, this kind of proves it's just math. But I still like your point. I think like the way to go maybe would be like about the AA guy, like. He's got all this great material. Maybe once he uses it all, he has to start doing fucked up shit again to get new material. That's one place my mind goes. And then also, AI can't be touched. But unless it like either lies, it could be like, you can tell it to pretend.
Right.
Or.
Well, to your point, maybe the Billie Eilish thing is the funny part. Like now we're just getting diddled for no reason. At least before you got diddled, you're like, I'll make great art. I'll be a portrait artist.
Yeah.
And now you're like, oh, I got diddled and no one cares.
Yeah, because
maybe that's
AI,
funnier.
I like that too. That's funny. Definitely try that if you like it.
I will. That's pretty good, and that's a little clearer than my bullshit.
Yeah, it's like you don't need
wishy-washy.
to be. You don't need to be like a drug addict to make art. Like it's just you just need a math equation, and it's like, But I said that to my friend once because I was kind of bummed by AI because I was like, oh, music. The closest I've ever felt to there being like a god is just like listening to music and being like, whoa, this makes me feel like.
Yes.
And then, so the idea that like AI can just like listen to music and be like, oh, it's all an equation. But then my friend was like, oh, maybe that just means it's like a god-like equation or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe that's too heady or whatever, but that's just kind of like.
But see, this is why you can't be too stubborn about a premise because I've been sitting on that and pontificating on it, and then you just come up with that Billie Eilish thing, and I'm like, well, maybe the whole thing's wrong, and I just flip it around.
Yeah, just turning it the other
way.
Turn
it the other way, and you got to go, that is funnier, which kind of hurts because you're like, oh, I thought I was a genius with that other thing.
Well, we wouldn't have got there without you saying all that. So
that's why you got to be open-minded.
Yeah, and I think, and I've done that for pretty much this one and the zoo one. Mm-hmm. My mind just goes. I think I do that a lot naturally. It's just I go to the reverse where you say like the zoo. Like you said,
it's like a zoo in here.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, what if it did look like a zoo in the park? Like I just kind of like take your thinking, but apply it to the other side.
Great. Which is why you got to bounce stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for you to see the other side because you're so stuck. The cement is dry on this premise in your mind,
right?
Where yours is still wet.
Well, at least I think with the thing I said that I just did, that is something you could always like. You could think to do if you're stuck.
Sure.
Like, have I tried reversing this or whatever?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like. There is like, you can't. I guess you can't be taught to be funny, but there is like little craft elements that you could kind of like. Mm-hmm. You can ask yourself certain questions to kind of prod it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's way funnier, I think.
All right, well,
the fact you got diddled for nothing.
That's
a funny angle.
Well, again, I didn't say that. You said that. So.
Well, still, I wouldn't have gotten it if you didn't tell me about Billie Eilish like that.
All right, cool. I'm glad we did that one.
But then I wonder with the cash thing, is there something like? Am I way off with cash, and then it's some Billie Eilish thing where I'm like, oh, it's actually this is the funny thing.
Right.
So.
What if credit cards were the scumbag and cash was buttoned up? Or like or I don't know.
Or what if cash could keep track? Because that's the thing about credit cards. You have a whole list of credit card interactions.
Oh.
And you're like, oh, wow, I forgot I went to Chipotle twice last week or whatever. But cash is fun because you forget. Yeah, maybe that's the cool part. Is you're like, I don't want to know.
You can kind of relate it to cancel culture, like Cash speaks up somewhere, and like it's like,
oh
well, he used me to do this.
Yeah, it's like an old tweet.
Yeah,
right.
And it's like I don't know who you. Yeah, or
that's interesting.
Yeah,
maybe that's the angle. You got your lean. Okay.
I mean, I had a tag for the you can't molest a computer, but
please.
I mean, you've made it watch you jerk off about 1,000 times.
Yeah. That's great. It's got the camera on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's good.
It's forced to watch you jerk off. Yeah,
that's good. I like that. It's seen a million dicks. All the computers out there. That's good. All right.
Cool.
But I feel like both premises are like humans getting further away from the things that they really make us feel like ourselves, which are actually our flaws and not our perfections. Because like they're both getting nerdier, like like with credit cards, you have a score now.
Right. What score?
What is fun? What is fun that has a grade attached to it?
Yeah.
And with AI, it's becoming a formula. Like it's becoming,
Yeah,
It seems like it doesn't make sense because like, when have you ever hung out with an autistic guy and been like, he's knows a lot and pretty funny?
Yeah, life of the party.
You know, exactly.
Right, that's a great point. We're becoming nerdier. Credit, everything's kept track of. They call you to check in. Yeah, you're right. And like you said, AI is just math. It's this beautiful song, but it's math.
Yeah.
So you ruined it. You took all the soul out of it.
Yeah.
Cash has some soul.
Yeah, like
I
the fun part is being dumb.
Yeah, making mistakes.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Everything we do and think about will never be funnier than that. And that's
Yeah. It's all right. We
always-
can try. We can aspire.
true.
This
helps. I think we made a lot of headway.
Yeah,
on
I think
my
this
2
was
bits.
good. I don't have anything worth sharing beyond the ones I've showed you.
Well, can I just say,
Yeah.
as a guy who's been doing comedy for 18 years or so, I appreciate you guys letting me riff and get weird. Because I think the more open-minded you can be with comedy, the cooler the bits become.
Oh, I
and I
mean-
think Louis is the best at that.
Yeah. Well, I
he's
think
got
you,
some jokes where you're like, whoa, how did your brain go there?
yeah, you kind of just gotta like throw out anything. And,
Yeah.
And,
But I came up writing with all these guys. We'd all write together. It was all a lot of pre-internet stuff where you'd all just get in a room and talk and flesh it out. And I would get a lot of guys like, what the fuck? Are you, what? Cash what? What's the joke? What's the funny part? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's just something here. And they're like, next. Who's next? You know, and that was a bummer when I started doing comedy. And you guys you'll let me get weird and swim in these murky waters. So I appreciate that.
yeah, no, I mean that's the fun, and also not to take away from the credit you've just given us, but you have a proven track record, so it's
Maybe
much
that helps.
yeah, it's much easier for us to be like, please go on, like
Yeah.
it's studying you,
Right.
yeah. If you were just like some guy off the street, I might be like, all right,
Cash,
enough of the cash, dude. You don't have it.
Right.
Yeah.
QR code on our snatch? What the fuck are you talking about? This guy's crazy.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you, dude. People enjoy this. I definitely like doing it. It's fun to get. I've got 2 jokes that you responded to well, so that's exciting for me.
Yeah, great
And,
ideas. And I think you just once you sit down with those, and I think just throw them out on stage. Just kind of have a punchline where you're like, I think this is the right way to go.
Yeah.
Just go towards that and keep talking. You'll crack something.
Well, one last writing question I have for you. I heard Louis say this on a podcast, and
That's fucking crazy, man.
yeah, and he said that he goes up on stage with an idea and he just tries to explain to the audience why he thinks it's funny. And I had thought that he was more of a sit and write guy. Do you think that's a new thing that he does? Because I feel like that's what I do, but I also feel like it comes partly from laziness and not in his case. Obviously, in his case, it comes from genius or whatever. But my question is, do you think that is what he always did?
Well, here's the weird thing about Louis, and I think it's why he's so good, and I've studied him for years. I went to his house once. He has this big oak desk, and he's like, wrote a lot of great jokes on that. And I remember being like, that's where he writes them. You know?
Douchey thing to say, but I still would be
I
like,
know.
I would kiss the desk.
Well, it's got Emmys all over.
Yeah, I
and
would
shit,
lick
too.
it when he wasn't looking, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I sniffed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's both, because this sounds mean, but he's been jumping around New York again and kind of struggling.
Yeah.
And you're like, this guy's a fucking 40-something year vet. He's a genius. He's one of the best ever. Why is he bombing? You think he'd come up with some bullshit out of his ass. And I think he kind of likes it. I think he kind of likes that uncomfortable, weird, dark kind of space that is like, I think that pulls shit out of him, and no one else has that. Maybe Bill Burr a little bit. Bill Burr's like, I'm going to piss you off and try to get you back.
Yeah.
Louis like, I like to get weird and see what makes you uncomfortable. Then I'm uncomfortable. Well, at least we're feeling something. He has
Yeah.
that weird.
It's entertaining, I guess.
I guess.
Or it's not boring.
It's not boring, and he knows how good he is, so he's probably like, I could figure this out if I wanted to, but this is kind of fun to be in this wacky space. And so I think he has that, and I think that's why he comes up with such crazy shit, but I also think he writes. I think he does both. He's good at organizing it, but no one in comedy hides the technique better than him. You know, you see a guy, you go up and you go, oh, that was a rule of thirds, oh, that was a misdirect, oh, that was whatever, the nostalgia joke or something, or a pun. Him, you're like, oh, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, and you have to go back and like be like, so what
Yeah.
was this?
Exactly. So But you got to know the technique really well to be able to hide it, I think.
Yeah.
So I think he's just failed and tried so much weird shit that he's found things that other people haven't, because he's willing to go there, where other people are like, I want to kill, I want to be great. He's like, I want to get weird and different. Like, did you guys watch the Steve Martin doc?
No, not that.
Well, there's one part where he goes, you got your one-liner guys, your Henny Youngmans, all these guys that go up, and they're funny. They have set up punchline, but you're not really laughing like you are when you're on a sleepover and you're all high at 2 a.m. and you're like with your friends. You're like, oh my god, that whole thing. He's like, I want to get those kind of laughs.
Yeah.
So he's like, not only do I want to be great at comedy, and he says, I want to change comedy, and I think Louis has some of that.
Interesting.
Sorry, we're really blowing Louis here.
No, yeah. But he definitely, he's like the reason I wanted to do comedy growing up.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. So it's cool to break it down.
Breaking it down, baby.
You got anything what were you going to say?
He's just willing to get weird, and I think that what sets him apart.
Yeah.
That's all.
I was going to say, do you want anything or you have anything to share for us? Or I know you do like another writing the joke thing.
Yeah.
On, not Patreon, isn't it something else?
Punch Up Live.
Yeah.
It's like its own thing. You send your email list, and you get all this free content. So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
And it's got all the dates on it and all that. So Punch Up Live, it's called Page to Stage. And it's literally this.
Cool.
Take the cash joke, throw it out there, throw it at some friends, see how they respond, try it on stage, bomb.
Yeah.
Rewrite it.
It's
try
more
it on
vlog
stage.
than it is pod, right?
It's a vlog, yeah. It's all on stage. It's all off stage. It's writing and all that. And then by the end of it, the first one we did, the joke we worked on became like the closer in my Netflix.
Okay.
So it really comes a long way.
That's cool.
So one of these jokes we're doing on Page to Stage, we're trying to get on the Fallon set.
Okay.
So it's still going, and it's $3. We're trying to sell it to a network, and we'll have other comedians doing it. So check out Page Stage on Punch Up. We might be drunk. Tuesdays or Stories. See me live. Comedy.
Cool. And thank you, Grant, for helping. Grant Moore.
Grant.
Yep.
Good stuff. Thanks for helping out.
Pog of War on Instagram. Cool. Thank you, Mark.
Hey, thank you.
Cool.
But she's a lot of fun. We went to Berlin, went to a sex club. That was wild. Walked in, people are naked, fucking, dancing, doing drugs. My buddy walks in after me, goes, "Holy shit, it's like a zoo in here." A lot of people say that. You ever been to a zoo? Pretty orderly. Literally just families walking around, looking around. Nothing wild at the zoo. Why do we say that? Whenever something's chaotic or crazy, it's like a zoo in here. But the zoo is boring and regimented, you know? That's like seeing a shark attack and going, holy shit, it's like an aquarium in here. Yeah. We should start saying that at appropriate times. Like, I used to work in data entry. It was like 200 people. We all had a cubicle. I didn't want to be there. I was like, I'd rather get shot than be here. It was like a zoo in there.